I had just filmed like a really nice intro and it was real informative, and then I started hacking to death. But we show must go on. So what I was saying, and now I'll say again, is A, the lighting, so much better. B, I wasn't really excited about a lot of stuff that's been coming out recently. The Natasha palette, the Bloom, it was nice. But the only things that have really excited me this year so far, eyeshadow wise, have been the Adept Minka redone palette. And I'm trying to think, the Chanel Camilla Futura collection is really gorgeous. But then all of a sudden, this past week, we get news of new products from, well, some new things have recently released that I really love, including the Fenty balm sticks that are in the shimmer formula. Westmanatelier's got some bronzing drops we're going to look at today, which I'm excited about. We have a few other new things to look at, but there's so much coming down the road. Victoria Beckham has a new Bordeaux collection coming. Westmanatelier is doing cheek products. And then the big daddy Mac of them all is Pat McGrath is finally giving us a mothership, and it's not pink and it's not gold. So I'm really excited about that. I wasn't sure we were ever going to get one again. But the big release that leaked a few weeks ago, and we were first told it was only going to be in Italy, but now we know that it's here in the United States. It's currently on their website, and it's in Nordstrom stores, but not online yet. I believe it comes in closer to April. Is the Prada Holo collection. So I love Prada Beauty. They've in the past had 7 eyeshadow quads. They've added 3 new ones. They have a spectacular foundation. They have a spectacular setting powder. But there haven't been a ton of products in their line. They've added now those 3 new palettes. They've added liners, of which I have 3. And then they've added mascara. So we're going to try some new products today. We're going to mix in some old ones when we don't have a Prada product available. And we're going to look at these new Prada quads. Obviously, I can only do 2 looks today. But I think on the third one, it needs to be a dedicated short. But I'll go over that in a minute. So anyway, to start, I'm going to grab my Dr. Dennis Goss Plump Lip Repair, because my lips have been pretty dry lately. So I love the Prada beauty line. It's very different than Chanel. It's very different than Dior. It's straight up pigment, and it's very editorial. But these 3 new eyeshadow collection, they actually are more neutrals, and then they have one sort of holographic shade involved in them. So I thought that was kind of neat that they're adapting and changing with the time. So I have the Refer number 2, so I'm going to just moisturize with that because my skin has been so dry and there's this huge zit on my head. So I have some new things coming in. The new Lisa Eldridge palette, which I'm so excited about. It looks really beautiful. Betty. And then there's rumors she's got another one coming out. Desert something. And then I'm trying to think of what else. Dior has some new of the liquid glow maximizers. So I'm excited, but we have a lot of new products today to try that, some from Prada, but then some that I just have had sitting here for a little while. And so I'm excited to finally try them. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on this giant zit. So I grabbed my Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint concealer pen, which I'm going to push out a little bit more product because it's going to take a good amount to get rid of this thing. I don't know why I break out in this area all of a sudden. I'm not prone to crazy breakouts, but lately I've been breaking out on my forehead a lot. I don't know what that's about. So by the time this goes up, obviously, the world will have seen the Pat McGrath palette. Everybody right now has seen like the digital drawing of it, but we haven't seen the actual product. I'm so excited because it looks like it's giving us what we've wanted for some time now, which is something different, not necessarily pinks and golds and things like that. This one's very purpley, green, blue kind of heavy. So I'm excited to see that. You know, she was recently announced as the artistic director or creative director for Louis Vuitton Beauty, which is launching this fall. And I saw a lot of scuttlebutt online, like, is she going to leave her brand or what's going on with her brand? And I actually think, if you really think about it, this is very smart because Louis Vuitton Beauty is owned by LVMH, which is Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, which is a huge conglomerate. And so my guess is they're going to inject a lot of funds into Pat McGrath and in return for this collaboration. And LVMH also owns Sephora. So I think it's really interesting to see what's going on with the brand. There was a rumor that they were going to go to online only and not be in Sephora stores anymore, or Ulta. But then the other day I saw a brand new gondola go in with Pat McGrath. So, you know, I'm excited to see what happens. And I noticed, especially during the holidays, that her brand was getting a little more editorial again. So I think maybe there haven't been as many sales. The collections have been fewer and far between. And I think maybe she's taken more of a editorial approach to it again. And I'm really excited about that. Plus, she's put out some really cool products. The Christmas palette had all of that Italian creamy formula that's really nice. It's not mothership level, but it's right below that. Then she had that glass skin effect, which, you know, is not the most practical thing in the world, but that's what we want from Pat McGrath, is something new and interesting. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to do, Prada has a primer, but I don't have it. So I'm just going to grab my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. This is a beautiful primer, and it gives a little bit of glow because the Prada foundation is pretty natural. It's not particularly glowy. So this will add a little bit of glow and hydration, which is needed at this time of year. And I'm actually using the bronzy color because I don't know that it does anything, but maybe it just gives me a little bit of color because I've been looking a little bit lately. So for Prada, one thing they don't have, let's clean off the eyelids here. One thing Prada Beauty doesn't have is concealer or eyebrow products. And I really do feel like those are the next two areas that they really should focus on, because Prada Beauty, the Prada line in general, is so eye focused. They have a very prominent brow. So I think it'll be really cool to see where they can go with that. So I'm going to use my Benefit Precisely My Brow today. My guess is they put a lot of focus on eyeshadows and now mascara and liners. I bet the next thing will be concealers and eyebrow pencils, because they've already mastered. I think they've really mastered. I think they're probably the best at luxury brand eyeshadows. Lipsticks are great. Their setting powder is fantastic. So this will be really cool. So now that those are done, I do have some new products that I wanted to try today that I've never tried before. Which can be daring, but we'll see. Hopefully they will work out. One that I grabbed, where did I put it? What the hell? This is the About Face eyeshadow primer. I really like their foundation, so I wanted to try their eyeshadow primer to see how I got along with that. Because normally I like the Rare Beauty one, I like Pat McGrath, but this one, the reviews online looks really good. Let me grab just a little kind of cheap brush. I'm not going to use like a Rephr brush to blend that out. I will just use a synthetic brush. But because we have something bougie today with Prada, I will use my rougher brushes. So like I said, Prada doesn't have a concealer, so I'm just going to use my Colfi concealer. I wish that Prada, because their foundation is so good, I hope that their next big, expansion or product for the fall probably is concealer. I would really like that. I know they're probably tempted to do cheek products, but we have so many blushes, the new YSL ones. There's so many blushes out there right now. Not that there's not a ton of concealers and foundations and stuff, but I would think that Prada, if I had my way, would focus on concealer, brows. They do apparently have a really good skincare line. It's just ungodly expensive. So for my Prada foundation, I use a mix. So I normally use 2 pumps of, what color is this? LN25. And then I put in a pump and a half or so of MC45, and it gives me what I need. Now, next time when I go to replace this, I'll just get the color that falls between these two. But when I first got the foundation, Prada Beauty wasn't even available in the United States, so I was really white knuckling it and just guessing. It is a gorgeous foundation, though. And Prada products smell so good. And I'm not normally a fan of like smelly products, but Prada Beauty smells so good. And you could see I could have added a little more medium cool because this even still is a little bit too light. But I did that on purpose because we also have the new Westmanatelier bronzing drops to try today. So we have lots of new cool products to try. So life updates, I have finally unpacked. I am finally settled in Oklahoma City in my own apartment. We have said goodbye, long goodbye to that little place that we all had to put up with in my videos back in the winter. And I am enjoying it so far. I did sell my house in Fayetteville, which was, bittersweet. I've had so many good memories there. I also went through painful memories there, my divorce and the passing of my dogs and, things like that. And so, it was really bittersweet. So many wonderful friend events and dinners and Oscar parties and things like that. But either way, we're starting something new here. And I think that that's really cool, especially for, me in my 40s. So I'm going to grab the new Westmanatelier bronzing drops. I wanted number 2, but they were out. So I grabbed number 1, and somebody told me that this was very close to their contour shade Biscuit, which is my all-time favorite. So I am hoping that this works well. It just may require a little bit more than I normally would use because it's probably a little bit light. Okay, but it's pigmented. And I'm not really contouring with this. I'm just bronzing up my skin because the foundation was a little bit light. It's beautiful though. This is a beautiful product. It really seeps in well. I like these. Giorgio Armani has one too, although it has a bit of a glow to it. This one's pretty matte. But I enjoy Westmanatelier products. I'm just going to put a little bit on my forehead. Like I said, I'm going for kind of just a slightly bronzed look. We want the star of the show today to be the new products, the eyeshadows. So that worked out really well. Let's see. For blush, what I thought would be really fun is to grab the Westmanatelier super loaded highlighter in the peony color, which is available online only. It's a beautiful color. The reason I did that is because one of the new Prada quads is peony. So I thought that would work out really well. There's not a ton of pigment to this product. It's more of a highlighter blush combo, but it should be fine. It gives a really nice, I love the Peau de Pêche. That one I can use more of a highlighter. Because this one does have some pink in it, it works better as kind of a blush. Or if I wanted to, I could have put down another blush underneath it and used this as kind of a topper. But this just gives a little bit of color and a lot of a beautiful glow there, which I can kick down in a minute when I grab my Prada setting powder, which is my favorite setting powder. I'm going to grab my Victoria Beckham contour stick just to do my nose. I'm really enjoying the new Victoria Beckham quads, and that new one that's been teased, that Bordeaux, looks really beautiful. I think that'll be really cool. Okay. That looks pretty good. It'd look better without that giant Zen on my head, but you do what you gotta do. Now for highlighter today, I have a new product from Peach and Lily. I had seen their setting, I like their setting spray a lot. But I had seen advertised online their new sort of glass skin, and I have a number of these products. Chanel puts out a really great one, but this one's apparently really natural. And from when I tested it, it reminds me a lot of like the RMS luminizers. So we're going to see how this works. It doesn't appear to be lifting anything. It's a little bit firmer than the Chanel ones, but it doesn't appear to be lifting anything. Yeah, there's no foundation on here. And it doesn't appear that there's any sparkles in here. If there is, I can't see it. It looks like just a glass skin balm, which is pretty perfect. I mean, look at that. That looks really beautiful. Now, in this kind of T-zone area here, I might be just a bit too glass skinny. So I'm going to grab my Prada setting powder, which I made so much fun of when it came out, because I was like, who's going to buy this setting powder for $90? And then I got it on sale, and it is one of my favorite setting powders. And I'm just going to do under my eyes and a little on the lids, and then my T-zone. So let's get to what everybody wants to see, I'm sure, which are the beautiful new Holo quads, or holographic. The original quads, the original 6 that came out, they all start with P, and they go with different prints from the Prada collections. The original 6 kind of were like 3 neutrals and 1 super metallic. Excuse me, no, there were 2 neutrals, 1 really bold pop of color, and then 1 like super metallic. And then at the holidays, they put out a collection, the platinum one, that was 1 matte and 3 metallics. And for this trio, they have put them out as 3 neutrals and 1 holographic shade. So it's something new, it's something different. I'll put the video in the corner here, but as you can see, they're very different. The first one, I believe number 7, is Peony. That one is very light, as you can see in the video. It's very subtle, and I think that would work best with one of the new PradaLiners being the star of the show, and that kind of being the background. So I think I'm going to do that one with a dedicated short. with the new liners. They have, I believe, 7 new liners maybe. A lot of them were browns and silvers and a black, of which I already have browns, silvers, and blacks. The ones that I got were 3 colors I don't have in my collection. There is, this one's called Glycine, which is like a lavender color. Then there's Mahogany, which is kind of a red, dark reddish kind of brown color. And finally, there is, this one's called Minta, but it is essentially Prada Green, because as you can see, it's the same color as the signature Prada Green. I think this one probably would go really well with that, what is that, number 7 Peony. So that's what I'll probably do a different short on. And then they also came out with mascara, and I'm really excited about this, and it's so cool. It comes in that rubberized tube like the old nylon that Prada was so well known for in the 90s. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. So we're going to put 7 aside and do a dedicated short on that. And today we'll do one eye with 8, which is Pansy, which is the medium one, with kind of a rosy holographic shade in the middle. And then Primula is the other one, which is number 9, and it is the darkest one, and it has a really cool holographic shade in it that switches from brown to blue, kind of a mauve-y kind of color. So let me pull out Pansy and show you what these look like. Their packaging is really spectacular. They put a lot of time and effort into it. So this is Pansy. You see we have a rose color, we have kind of a soft nude, a deepening brown, and then this really cool kind of seafoam green to pink kind of duochrome. It reminds me a little bit of, I think I saw Alicia Archer mention this, and I think it's accurate. It reminds me a lot of the in the Natasha Denona Zindo palette, the one that's kind of the cross between the reds and the warm colors and the blues. There's one color that's kind of, you can use for, you know, both, and I think that that's what that is. It reminds me a lot of that. So I'm going to grab a Refer 15, and I'm going to take this middle color here, and I'm just going to work this through the crease. And Prada shadows are very pigmented. Now, obviously, these are a little bit lighter, so they're going to be lighter in shade, but there's tons of pigment, and their formula is unlike, it reminds me a little bit, I was going to say it's unlike anything. The closest thing that I know is kind of like the Lisa Eldridge formula. It's really kind of velvety. This is a pretty color. It's kind of a pinky nude. So I'm going to go in with this reddish pink color up here. I would call this like a rosewood. And I'm going to do this all over the lid. That is a pretty color. Prada has some of my favorite mattes. They're just so blendable and they're forgiving. See, that's a beautiful, right there you could be done. Like, that's a beautiful look. But I do want to go in with that chocolatey brown color. This is not the deepest brown. It's kind of a mid-tone brown just on this outer portion here. I don't know how other creator people don't make silly faces when they do their makeup, because I always make silly faces. Okay, and I'm actually going to grab a little bit of that brown and just run it along the bottom here. I'm not worried about making it too perfect because you'll see why in a minute. That's really pretty. So this is that duochrome I was talking about that reminds me a little bit of the one that's in Zendo. And for duochromes and things like that, I like to grab them on my finger. But you can see it shifts from a gold to a green to kind of a pink color. Really cool. I'm going to put this on with my finger, but if I really wanted to amp it up, I could have grabbed my Pat McGrath Intensify wand. But I kind of want these new liners to be the star of the show here. This is a beautiful color though. I'm actually going to take some by itself and just put it on the inner corner and drag it down just a little bit. So that's a really pretty color, like I said. I'm going to grab the new liner. This one is in Mahogany, number 3. And I'm going to do my waterline, and then I'm going to do up top kind of a, I want this liner. It's a really cool color of kind of a reddish color. Kind of reminds me of, well, Victoria's got a Bordeaux color, and now Lisa Eldridge has a burnt umber color coming out. So this is a popular color. I'm going to run this along the bottom here. I will say I tested these earlier today on my hand, and it took makeup remover, eye makeup remover. These did not move. So I'm going to take this and just apply it on the lash line up here. I'm not worried about it being too perfect, which is good because I am not doing it perfect. But I'm going to smudge it out a little. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not worried about it being too perfect. It's not dragging though. It's doing a really nice job. I'm going to grab a Refer, what is that brush? 29, the tiny one, and just kind of even it out and kind of smudge it along. Make it look a little bit messy. Same down here. Okay. And we'll come back to this one in a minute to do the mascara, but I wanted to move on to the next one, which is the darkest of the 3. And I believe it is number 9, Primula. Now, that's a type of flower. All of these represent various Prada prints. All of their quads represent various Prada prints. I wasn't familiar with what a Primula was, but it is also a type of flower. This one has kind of the boldest color story in this collection, because even this one, as cool as that shade is, I mean, this is still a very neutral palette. So let me grab this one. This is number 9, Primula, and I'll show you this color story, which I think is really cool. This one's much warmer, but it has this really cool, this reminds me a lot of the, it's a more refined version, obviously, but of the multi-chrome that's in the Star palette and the Mini Star from Natasha Denona, which is one of my favorite minis from her. I'm going to grab this lightest khaki color that's up here. It's kind of a mocha tan color, and work that through. These really do blend out so beautifully that even though they're insanely pigmented, they blend out so easy that it's not unmanageable. Grab a little bit more of that. And along the edge up at the top on that same brush, I'm turning into that Not Fit for Print beauty lady where she uses one brush, Rebecca. I'm gonna grab this lightest color and just run that along the edge there to soften that up. That's a pretty color. I mean, honestly, between the three palettes, you've got so many shades of brown and tan. Obviously, you're going to run in, but I will say they all look different. Then this one's got a very deep chocolate color on the bottom. I'm going to grab that. And I'm going to concentrate it on this outer portion, but I'm actually going to spread it over just a little bit onto the lid. Yeah, that looks nice. So I'm going to grab that darkest color again and run it along the bottom. Again, not worried about perfection here, because I'm going to change it up in a minute, and then I'm going to grab that kind of middle color and put that on the inner portion. Now with the whole thing, and actually I'm going to grab a clean brush for this, and this is a really cool brush for this kind of product. This is number 36. I'm going to grab that lightest tan color again and just smoke this out, but also clean up the edges. This is a beautiful color to give you a smoky haze, but it's also not too dark. I went a little further than I wanted to over here, so I'm just going to grab my foundation brush, and that works. So this one has a gorgeous duochrome in it. Like I said, it's kind of a brown to purple to blue duochrome, and these are so super fine milled. That's a really cool color. And again, I could have amped this up with the Pat McGrath Intensify wand or like a NYX glitter glue, but I just want to show these off today. Now this one doesn't have like a light metallic in it. So I think what I'll do is just grab that lightest tan color and put that on the inner corner. I normally like a metallic on the inner corner, but this one doesn't have one. So you could obviously grab one from one of the other palettes, or you could just grab like a single from Urban Decay or something and put it there. But this looks really cool. Now this is a very dramatic eye. I don't think that either of these pastel colors will go with it. So what I'm going to do on this one is do a traditional wing. And so I have my Lisa Eldridge Kitten Flick. I wish she would come out with this in brown. But this is in black. And this is probably my favorite liner pen. I find it to be the easiest to use. And I'm not going to do anything super dramatic here. I say that, but yeah, that's already turned dramatic. I love how I said I wasn't going to do anything super dramatic. And this has gone full on 60s kitten eye here. But it works, and it looks really cool. I want to clean that up just a little bit though, so I'm going to grab a little, just a tiniest drop of that Kofi concealer on the 29. And I want this to be really cleaner and more deliberate. That works well. Then I can just take the corner of my foundation brush and smear that out just a little bit. So I'm going to grab my, I don't know why I don't have it here, but if we're going to test new eyeshadow, which I have some favorite eyeshadows, Pat. YSL is my favorite. I'm excited to try the Lisa. But it's hard, I think, to talk about eyeshadows and how good they are or how, bad they are in these kind of videos, because it's hard to tell what's a good one and what's not. But I'm going to use my Refer and just curl these ever so slightly. Another area that they could expand into would be lip liners, because they have great lipsticks. Okay. And I'm just giving those a little curl, because my lashes, they are long, but they are kind of just straight. Actually, I'm going to grab a little bit of that dark brown color and just run that in this corner and along the bottom. Now, I'm going to grab the Mahogany just because I have it here, but like a cocoa brown, like a black coffee, or like Coco from Victoria Beckham, those would work really well with this look too. An indigo would work pretty well, I think, too, because of the shift on that multi-chrome. This will be a cool palette in the fall because it's very bold and kind of darker and smokier. Okay, so let's try the mascara. Like I said, you just kind of know if you like it or you don't. It's hard to explain the properties. The ones I don't like tend to be very clumpy. The packaging on this is killer. A downside I've read is that it has a short lifespan. I think it's like 3 or 6 months. I don't really follow that. But if that's something you would worry about, then you might want to consider one with a longer shelf life. It has an interesting wand. One side of it is completely void of anything interesting. It's just round. The other side of it has this kind of scoop in the middle and these tiny little spikes. And I've read that this one is very good for not necessarily length, although it appears it's giving some length, but giving volume. And the way these brushes work, or the way this little brush works, it's not clumping up on me. No, I say that, and that bottom one is, I actually don't think that that's the mascara. I think that I had something on my lashes there. Okay, so that's one coat. Let's try it on the other. So far, I like it. I like the wand a lot. I hope they come out with other colors. Prada is such an interesting brand between them and their little sister Miu Miu. They do Beautiful Ugly so well, probably better than anyone. And so I'm really excited to see where they come. I would like, if anyone at Prada's listening for the holidays, I would like something that references the famous lipstick pattern. I would like one that does the cars. Some of those cool Prada patterns that are so famous. Okay, that's one coat. I'm going to go back in over here And put a little bit more. It does feel a little strange. Not that these are disappointing in any way. They're beautiful. But the holographic part is the interesting part, where with the other ones, it's the molten metallic and the really bold color. With these, it's that shift, which I think is really cool. It's just something totally different. And like I said, the third one that I got, the peony one, is so light that I think these were going to be the star of that show, but I'll make them their own video. But you can see the difference between these two. If you thought they kind of looked similar online, this one is the lighter one. This one is much smokier and darker. And like I said, they don't have lip liners. So I'm going to grab a lip liner. This is in Traced Out from Fenty, because I'm loving their new shiny lip gloss sticks. So we'll have new Lisa coming. We have the other Prada quad. We're gonna have some new Dior luminizers, and then Pat. So I'm really excited. I grabbed one of my favorite Prada. I don't believe this is a new color. This is in... Ooh, it doesn't say. Well, shit. B101. So I'm gonna grab it. It's kind of a rusty rose color. This isn't the super matte. This is like the lighter matte one. I like both of them a lot. Prada has a really good lipstick formula. This is in that like bronzy packaging they did for the holidays. So it's kind of cool. I think that looks really good. And we've tried some new products today, some stuff from About Face. We tried some classics. I think that looks really good. I like that glass skin. That is crazy. That product is really beautiful. Then that little bit of blush works really well, but the star of the show are these eyes, and so far I gotta say, I think they look really beautiful. The liners have performed really well, and the mascara looks really good too. So if you like this kind of content, please consider liking, subscribing, following along. Unsolicited Eyevice on Instagram and YouTube. Shop my links, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.